Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Carnation Crafts. We are live in the Carnation Crafts studio, and it is very lovely to have your company. We are bringing you the Summer Pursuits collection. We did have a show earlier this morning. If any of you missed it, you can catch that up on YouTube or on Facebook pages. Well, specifically the Carnation. You won't find it on random ones, we hope. But you'll be able to find us there. The Summer Pursuits collection is on the Carnation Crafts website as we speak, and the number for it is 220713. There are a huge amount of dies in this collection. You'll see there's loads and loads of stuff. We're going to go through the boards so you will get to see them, and we will be as quick as you like. If you're wondering what that white flash was going across the screen, that was Miss Taz putting a board in front of me, just in case you thought there was a ghost in the room. It's not, it's Miss Taz. Good morning, Alison. How are you doing, lovely? So we're going to go through the collection, we're going to go through the boards, and we will have a look at what you're getting, and then we're going to demonstrate an easel card so you can see how it comes together as an easel. Good morning, Julie. Hi, sweetie. Hope you are well. Thank you. I am very well. Karen, hi again. Thank you for joining again. That's so lovely. So yeah, we're going to look at an easel card today and look at how to build that with the Summer Pursuits collection. So you've got a different variant, and then if there's time, we'll look at doing it with a plain card base instead of one of the main shapes. So you can see again how to craft it differently. Alison says hello again, Carla and Taz. Massive thank you from me, and I know Taz says the same from the corner over there as well. So, Summer Pursuits, as I say, on the website 220713. While you're there, if you're buying that this morning, make sure to also add into your basket for free your downloads for your collection and also your free backing papers. You'll find all that on the website at www.carnationcrafts.co.uk, and I'll go through with you in a little while how you get your vignettes if you're new to us, and you'll be able to see how to work all that through. As well as the vignettes and the dies that are there on the website, we also have the perfect papers, which are absolutely stunning. The perfect papers are made and sort of naturally blend with the collection that you are getting. So all of the colours are colour picked from the vignettes, which means everything works perfectly together. Good morning, Audrey. I hope you're really well. Everything blends together. The number of your perfect papers is 220724, and they are $14.99 at the show price. However, we do have a special code for you this morning, which is CCSP10, and that provides you with a 10% discount off the full collection, and it also provides, I presume, off the Summer Pursuits perfect papers as well. If you'd like to receive a discount off everything that you buy from Carnation for the month, then you can join our newsletter, which is on the Carnation Crafts website. You sign up for it there. They'll email you every week with every month with a newsletter, which have details of what's coming up, little sneak peeks, but it will also have that code on for you, and you can use that across the website for 10% discount for the whole of the month. So it's worth signing up for that. Good morning, Nicola. How you doing? So Carla, Taz and the Carnation Army. Best army. We are the best army. So just to let you know, that main collection, the show price is $156.93 as its normal RRP, but today for you we've got it for $119.99. However, if you go further and use your 10% discount, you're going to get that for $107.99. And if you want to divide that into 4 payments, it would be £27 through ClearPay. And I was told by a lovely customer this morning that's every 2 weeks. So that will let you know there. We've also got some letters, and I'll go through those with you in a second. That's a separate collection, but they're very beautiful, and we'll go through them. But we're going to have a look at these boards because they're beautiful and because I am the chairman of the boards. So we're going to go through, look at these. Isn't that so pretty? I think that board's really spectacular. I think there's something, it's the black, isn't it? And I think there's a lesson to be learnt there as well as far as card making is concerned, because actually having that on a black base with a white base card and a black mat would just look spectacular. And to have it with a sentiment going across, just the impact would be huge because the colours are so bright. And those colours obviously come from using pro print paper, so please make sure you've got some in your collection. It does help, it makes a huge difference. Good morning, Pam, how you doing? She says Carla, Taz and the Carnation Army. Taz is waving to you and saying hello. So with these, you get your base card die. the outside one, then you get your mats, your layers, and you get this. So this, where you see all of this detailing, is this. That's what it looks like in reality when you use those vignettes. So you print them off, you pop your die on top, and that is what they look like. You get your decoupage elements, and that's where you see this big sort of fluffy element that goes on that vignette, and that's your decoupage elements. But you can use them separately. You can use them as little individual pieces, which I like a lot. Every single white line that you see on here, every single one is a cut line, and that cut line creates all of the detailing. So when you look at this piece here, each one of those tiny, tiny little petals within there is separate. It's got a cut line that marks it out, which means we can get superb detailing, really, really incredible detailing just by using those dies. That's the nature of how Carnation use them. From that, we've got your beautiful daisies. This is your delightful daisy frame. These for 3 frames, I'm about to show you another one as well, just to let you know, because my brain will stop remembering, the 3 frames can be bought separately. You don't have to buy the whole, you know, the whole shebang. If you just want the 3 frames, there is a separate offer for those as well, and you can buy everything individually. So your Perfect Perennials collection, which is those 3 frames, is 220714, and that is $74.99 plus your P&P, plus free P&P, should I say, but obviously you'd get a 10% discount on that because you are using your discount code, so it all works out perfectly. So again, you've got all your decoupage elements which build up. You've got your mats, your layers, and your base card, and always you've got your centerpieces here, which can create either layers up, or you can create layered apertures, meaning that they go down into the card. If you want to know about how to do that, we did kind of briefly explain it in the previous show this morning, and also in the Carnation Crafters group on Facebook. I've done a full video tutorial on how to do layered apertures, so you can follow me on that and work your way through how to do it. Makes it super easy, because it hurt my brain for a long, long time. We move from that into your beautiful, gorgeous, pretty petunias. Isn't it pretty? So this one sold like Billy-O. It was the biggest selling of the individual frames, and I think we sold out very quickly on this when we launched it on Create and Craft. I think for obvious reasons. It's got that fairy tale element about it. There's something about it, kind of reminds me of an Alice in Wonderland, where you would walk through this sort of fairy tale opening into you know, a fairy tale behind it. I love that about it. It's something very, very pretty about that whole piece. Again, your base card, your mats, your layers, your main piece, which is this, and then your decoupage elements. These, because they're such pretty colours, you can see all the different decoupage elements that you've got. Because they're so pretty, they're really lovely embellishments on your cards anyway, even if you're not using them for decoupage, but for other elements, they just work really, really well. Then we've got your gorgeous butterflies. These are, I said this morning, really impactful. So your dancing butterflies are specifically designed to be able to decoupage up. So you can see I've got one there and one down. So they would look like they were sort of flying, or it would look like a butterfly that has got its wings almost closed. However, you can obviously decoupage them with the different colours as well. The 2 halves of the butterflies fit together to make one full butterfly, which is super pretty. And you've got this gorgeous filigreed element that comes down. I love that. There's something really pretty about it, isn't there? It does have a mat as well, so you can make it a separate element if you like. You can have a white base and have that on top of it, and have it sitting on top of your card, and it creates this really gorgeous difference in what you're making, which we love, 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 love. And then you've got your gorgeous water. I love this. Will always be my favourite. I've said it so many times now, but it's just pretty, isn't it? Something really sweet. I made a card just out of the base for this for a friend of mine. So you just score along, cut this twice, score along one, and put your sticky tape on and put that on top with a sentiment. And it's just so cute as it is. It's perfect. You get the tiny little one as well, and then you get your beautiful foliage. So this is designed so it will come out of that spout, and you can pop your flowers going down, so you get a flow of florals, which is always going to be breathtaking, because it's just all the colour, isn't it? Comes together. This, which has been super popular and very well approved of by the Carnation Army, is the guitar. So you've got your base layer for it, and you've got the guitar sitting there, which is incredibly realistic, and you've got the florals which sit. So this sits really prettily just over the edge of this guitar, or you can use it down the neck of the guitar as well, and it's just really There's something almost Hawaiian about it, but if you take the flowers away, obviously it works on its own. Just as a guitar, think of all the cards that you're making and the fact that it doesn't have to be within this collection. Things like the guitar will work across all of your collections with all your different embellishments. So it's about using your tools, isn't it? And then you've got your beautiful summer tuck-ins. Really, really sweet, these, and they make such an impact. I did mean to, and hopefully for tomorrow if my brain remembers, there's a card that's got just so much detail in just with the summer tuck-ins for the background, and it looks incredible. The whole back of it is just filled, and they've been cut in the perfect papers instead of in white, and it just looks really, it looks like it's been embossed. There's something really pretty about it. Your sentiment holders, gorgeous, gorgeous sentiment holders. So you've got your 3 layers here. So you've got your big one, then you've got your smaller one, but they can lay on top of each other, and you've got your mat, and you've got the actual sentiment holder itself as well. As you can see, that sits here and it holds that sentiment inside, or you can have the middle layer sitting on the top. So depending what your stamp is, or depending what your writing is, you can choose whether to just have the central part or have the 2 prongs. It's entirely obviously up to you. You can stick some foam tape between the 2 backs and put the 2 together with glue, and it creates like a plinth, I suppose. Really, really different to what we normally see. So super easy, super useful, and all of the things that we can make with lovely crafting. And then you've got your bike. This has been super popular as well. I wasn't surprised when I first saw this, because I've seen dies of bikes before, and it's the detail. So we said about the seat this morning, the fact that it's got all of those crease marks in it, it's got all of the elements to it, you've got the flowers that sit in the basket if you want them to. And I like the fact, because listen, we say to you all the time with Carnation that it's got this snippability, but I like the fact that they gave you it as a separate item. So it's not stuck in there and you have to cut it away, because that would have, you know, we'd have lost a handlebar by doing that. And you could have got around it, but the fact that we don't have to makes a difference. We have the choice. Do you want it or don't you? And that's important. And somebody did inform me this morning that you can buy the bike in blue with the additional colourways. So you can buy the additional colourways. I think they're probably about £1. And you can have it in blue. In which case, if you were making it as a masculine card, you wouldn't necessarily use those. You could put something else in there. Good morning, Valerie. Good morning, Sue. Lovely to have your company. Thank you for joining us. It's been a busy old day already, and we are at what, 11:10. It has been a busy old day. So on top of that, we have another sort of collection, if you like, and this is the letters, and they're super, super awesome. Really easy to use and really easy on the eye. So you've got these gorgeous kind of retro, I never really know how to phrase that. There's something really 1960s about them, and I can't place why. It's got that summer of love feel to it. I can't quite place where my brain is going with it, but there's something quite 60s about it, which I think is just brilliant. And on top of that, you also get the Roman font as well, so your more classic serif font, which is really impactful. It's got a really beautiful feel to it, and I think the fact that you've got something that's playful or something that's serious make it kind of easier just to kind of work around stuff, you know, because if you're trying to make a fun card and you're trying to make something that's a little bit different, then it's nice to have a font that allows that. But it's nice to know that, well, I'm not stuck just with that font, I've got the other. And they do come in the same set of dies. So this is what it looks like as far as your metal is concerned. Stacey says, don't like it in the slightest, said no one ever. Hope everyone's okay. Yeah, that's the thing with Carnation though, isn't it? It's like, they're all so beautiful. So, excuse me, this is what you get with the alphabet. It's a massive amount of dies. They're a brilliant size. It means we've got more sort of to go with. But each one also comes, I'm going to break my nail doing this. Each one comes with its own mat as well. So you're getting double the amount there. So you can use those actually as letters as well. But they're more bubble fonts if you do that. And obviously you'd miss the inside of the O's. Or do you? Hold on, let me work it out. Yeah, you would, because that's separate. That is another die that sort of sits, and it's just got a pip that holds it together. You see? But you'd still know what that was. You know, you're still working around. So again, essentially, you could really go for it in different ways, and you'd have more to play with. which is what we need. But that doesn't sit on its own. You've also got your tags. So for the love of letter tags. So this is different. Alison, you're such a love. Thank you. Alison says complete colorway vignettes are half price on the website for the main die set. I didn't know that. Thank you very much, Alison. You are absolutely brilliant. Thank you for telling me that. So now's the time to go and get those. They won't be expensive anyway, so you're getting those colorways and you're getting more sort of value for your money, aren't you? Because everything is in different colors, which we like. So these tags are clever beyond clever. So you've got the tag here, you get a vignette for these. These are completely different vignettes. Remember, this is a collection of itself, so you want the love of letter tags, the vignettes, and all you're going to do is just pop, if you want to, you can pop one of those main capitals here. When you open the vignette in Adobe, I don't know it for any other program, but when you open it in Adobe, this part of the vignette will be blue. And it means you can edit it. So you can just click into it and a black cursor will appear and you can type. So if I was to put the letter T here, I could put as here and I would have Taz. It doesn't matter which name I wanted. If I wanted to put Tasmin, it would obviously do it. But if I wanted to put Tasmin, Jasmine, whatever, I could still carry on typing. These letters would that's not her middle name, by the way, just in case you were wondering, but those letters would get smaller, so I could fit those two words in. So it just works, it keeps going, so you can make more of it. You're not stuck just with that space. So just to let you know, those vignettes again are on the website. That's carnationcrafts.co.uk, and that's where you get all of your vignettes from, and it's where we print them all out from. So that is your For the Love of Letters selection. I'm just going to put that here. So for those of you brand new to us, welcome if you are. Lovely to have you here. I just want to show you, I don't know if I've still got these here from Christmas, just bear. Not Christmas, but you know, Christmas. So just let me have a look. What is a vignette? We talk about them all the time. A vignette is a piece of artwork that we download from the website. So we go to carnationcrafts.co.uk and you look for the collection that you're working with. So we go to downloads and then we go to free downloads. And on the right hand side, you type in the selection that you want. So for this, we would type in summer pursuits, and that would give us, so you can see where it says collections at the bottom, and you can select from there, or you can type in summer pursuits like Miss Taz is doing for us right now, and you go to the search button and it will bring up anything from that collection, anything and everything from that collection. So you just scroll through and you work out what it is you want to put in your basket. So if you're buying stuff, you put that in, but also if you want to put in your free, like there it says Carnation Crafts Summer Pursuits Collection Complete Colorway Download. If you wanted the alternative colours, you'll also get the same one, which will have a 0 price on it, which is next to it, which says the original colorway collection, and that means you get that completely for free. So all your artwork's free, all your backing papers are free. If you want it in different colours, yes, you do pay for it, but everything else is free. So what that means is when you download it and you print it, you have what are called vignettes. For any of you who have used, you know, things, there's loads of different ones in the market, isn't there? Charismas and all sorts of stuff. You'll know vaguely what it means. We print it from the vignette, and what you have is an image here. This is on Pro Print, so it will be incredibly crisp. And I put my die on top of it. This is obviously not from Summer Pursuits, but I put my die on top of it and I put it through my machine and it cuts that out. Easy done, right? But what Carnation do is this as well. Now that's the same vignette, absolutely the same vignette pretty much, except for this one's got the black line. And what we do is we fold on the black line. We don't fold halfway. Halfway, as you can see, it wouldn't work. Can you see how I've got an overlap here? Because it's not completely in half. You always use your black line. And then what I would do is open that up, spray glue just inside, put it together, make sure it sticks, and put my die on top. And that means I get what's called a mirrored vignette. And what that means essentially is that I've got the bike here, and if I turn it over, it's exactly the same image on the other side. Why does that matter, I hear you say? Well, if I want to have my bike the correct way for the vignette, for the die, my die is facing that way. But what if I don't want my bike to face that way on the card? Well, I can turn it over and I can have it facing that way. And that means I've just got double for my money. It's really important. But the other side to it is if I have a card base, if I can find one in my plethora of things. And I've got something that's overlapping on the top of my card, and this would be the back of my card. It means I've still got that colour at the back. I don't have that weird white garish sort of thing that you would get from a plain vignette. So I always go for coloured vignettes. For the mirrored vignettes, I just prefer it that way, but everybody has a different way of crafting, right? So I wouldn't tell you one is right and one is wrong. I can only tell you what I do. But that is a vignette, and that is how we use them. The ones that are editable are slightly different, because obviously you have the little blue box that you click in and you can type, and that's the only difference, is that we have some that are editable, and in this case those are them. Those are them, Mr. House. So that is your Summer Pursuits collection. This is your love of letters. Your number for this is 220701. You can just type in for the love of letters if you want. I'm not so good with numbers, but you can put the number in the search bar and it'll come up. So just to let you know, with Carnation Crafts, if you spend over £50 in the UK, then your postage is always going to be free. You're never going to pay for your postage over £50. We all know that Carnation have got second to none customer service. Order it today, it will be picked and packed today, and usually posted same day as well. It's just if it's after a certain point in the afternoon, you know, Royal Mail can't take it. If you're in the USA, your postage is different because it's obviously shipping and handling. So in the USA, if you to buy, say, the full collection, it would be $4.95 for your shipping and handling. And you would pay, if you wanted to get the perfect papers, it would be £15, $14.95. Am I right, Tess? $14.95, because you're paying for the perfect papers as well. That's just for one pack of perfect papers. But Carnation handle your orders in exactly the same way as they handle the UK orders. They are picked, packed and shipped on the same day. Just obviously takes a bit longer to get to you because it's got to go over the water, I assume, or in an aeroplane, which is very exciting when you think about it, because it means all of your dies have been on holiday, which we like a lot. So that's your collection. Make sure you get hold of it, because obviously things are going fast at the moment. Make sure you're using your discount code CCSP10. It's important to use it because you're getting 10% discount. We all want discount because it's discount and nobody wants to pay full price for anything, rightly so. So I promised you an easel card, and an easel card I shall produce. So when we're making easel cards, what you're looking at basically is 3 of the same shape. This is how I make them. We all craft differently, but this is how I do it. It's the easiest way I've found. So I'm cutting out my base shape twice. So this is my largest die, 3 times, sorry. The middle one I'm going to handle differently. So I take one of them and I'm going to handle this differently, as you can see. And the way this works is to score out ½ inch, an inch, whatever you like here at the top, as you can see, and you put your red liner tape on it, and have a bit of fluff as always with my demos, because it wouldn't be one of mine if it was perfect. But then we score in the middle and we're folding that back on itself. Okay, and that's going to be your mechanism. And the way that works is, as I turn this over, you can see I've got my red liner tape here. So remember, we're on opposite sides for your red liner tape. The side that your card is going to stick to, the front of your card, the liner tape's on the front. This, where it's going to stick to its base element, that's on the back. So you're in opposite sides. That's the bit to remember. I forgot that so many times, and I would always put it on the same side. It does not work, unfortunately, as I discovered. On my base, I've put my mats and layers already, but we know how to do your mats and layers. So I always lay them flat when I'm doing them on my base card. I never raise them up. And the reason I don't, because you know how much I like raising stuff, but the reason I don't is, and the reason I keep them flat, is because I've got to put this piece on top. I need to secure it. Now, if I've got loads of foam tape in here and it's sitting really high, it's not going to have the same security as it would have if they are flat. Now, what I could do, if I so chose, is where I've got that cut line, and some people prefer to do it this way, which is why I'm telling you, where I've got that score, lots of people like to cut their mats and layers at that point. So you would get rid of that top piece, which matches that. You'd get rid of it. And so you'd have your mats and layers, and that way you could raise them up. I choose not to do that, just because when it's shut, I like my card to remain flat. It's just personal preference. It's how you like to craft. And I just wanted to show you both ways so you can choose which you find easiest for you. So we're going to whip this off here. No, don't get it stuck to my pinkings. And I'm just going to place this at the bottom first. So I'm not securing anything until I know I've got it where I want it to be. And I'm just going to make sure I've got it level. and I'm gently going to release. I've still got the top piece sitting away from the other because I folded it back on itself, and that's why your score line is so important here. Now I know that that's straight, I can just push that down. My mechanism is now ready for my card, so I can do that by raising this up, and I've got my easel stand all sorted. Super easy to do, but you know, when I first started crafting, Carnation said to me, you need to come and talk to Janine, who's head DT at the offices, and she's going to teach you how to do it. Not when I started crafting, when I first started card making, because prior to Carnation I had never made a card. I had done paper sculpting and quilling, and so I went down and Janine said, I'll show you how to do an easel card, and I was like, right you are. And could I get it? No. My brain was not doing the back to front on it at all, and bless her, she's the most patient woman in the world, is Janine. She tried, and I couldn't get it into my head how to do it, and it wasn't until I sort of sat there and thought, you've got to do it on opposite sides, it's got to be an opposer. That's how I remembered it in my brain. It's got to be opposite, and you can do twisted easels by doing it on a diagonal as well, and that works in exactly the same way. So if you're ever curious as to how to get different card shapes, all you need to do obviously is YouTube, or go and look on the Carnation website. There's loads of different ways of doing stuff. We have tutorials for many things on there. What I'm going to do now is just remove these. And I remove all three. You don't have to. Obviously, there's no real reason to have that sit in, but I don't want it to bend in the middle. I don't want to get that sort of, because if there was no tape in the middle, it's free, isn't it? And I prefer to keep it steady. So same thing again. I'm just going to put this up to here, and I'm going to keep that flat. Now what I'm going to do this time is lay this so I've got it tight on the front. So I'm not committing to anything until I know I've got it where I want it to be. And then I can lay this down as I'm going, and it will stick. And I know I've got prime placement, so I know that it's all together where it needs to be. And the mechanism that I've got underneath is going to allow me to raise, and there is my easel all ready to go for me to decorate. So that's your basic mechanism for an easel for anybody who has never made one before. Super simple to do, and you can see at the back, that's my mechanism there. Really easy, right? Really simple. If you're really canny about it, although it's a lot of work and I don't do it, but you can, for an easel card, cut another base and place it on here. It kind of works. You've got to get your in-betweens, but some people like to put colour on the back, so I don't bother so much because it just seems like more effort than I want to put in, if I'm totally honest. There's no need. The back of the card is not there to be seen. So going from that, the things we've got to remember with an easel card is that you need a stopper. You've got to have a stopper, because otherwise if I raise this without a stopper and just put it there, it's just going to close. So I've got to have something that when this card sits open is going to hold it. And the way we do that is to work out, first of all, how high do you want your card shape to sit? And it is a difference. There's a difference in impact. So when we say easel, it actually looks like an easel in the sense that you've got this sitting. So imagine you're painting on here. Imagine this is a paint board that you're working on. Where would you want your easel to sit? Would you want it to be that high, or would you want it to sit lower? Which kind of impact do you want on the card? And it does make a huge difference. Now, if I am putting my stopper somewhere at the back here, because I want it to have more of this displayed, the reason I would do that more than anything is because I would want to decorate the front of here. I would want extra decoration. If I don't want extra decoration, because when I'm making easel cards, what I often do with an easel is add a white piece of card, possibly matted and layered, behind the easel mechanism where I put my note to whoever I'm sending it to. So I will generally put my stopper somewhere further towards the bottom. So let's just say, for instance, I'm going to use a sentiment, and I'm always going to use foam tape to raise it, and it's the raising of it that allows that stopper mechanism to work, and that's going to hold it in place. So when the recipient gets it, they can just stick that behind there and they know it, but when they open it, they would see my message from me that's handwritten. That's up to you how you want to do it. Again, as I say, if you want to raise that higher, now we've got an extra canvas to work on, and you can work on both. And one of the beautiful things to do on an easel card is to work so that it flows flows down the card. So you're almost using the same sort of technique right down, if that makes sense. So you would use the same colour toppers, and possibly you would create a flow. So if you're like on this one, we're obviously using the petunias. If I was doing that, I would possibly reflect that down here so it looks like it flows down. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes easel cards accessible to those of you who don't know how to make it. It is a simple way of doing things, but I struggled with it, and I don't have the best of brains when it comes to a lot of things. So I'm not suggesting that everybody else will struggle with it, but if one person has just learned how to make an easel card, then I hope that helped, and it was worth it if one person learned to do something from that. So I'm going to book this up. I've got my tape here. The reason we pull those down and create those tabs is that I've got slip and slide at the bottom. I can get myself into place before I get the stick onto my card. So again, we're just pulling down here. I'm going to find my way. I can't lean over because you're just going to get my head right in the shot. So I'm just going to sort of semi-guess, but for you at home, obviously you can lean right over. I'm going to put my fingers here now. That sticks down those top bits, which you've got the sticky showing, and I'm going to pull my tabs, and that allows that to stick down perfectly. So I've got all of my mats and layers in place. It doesn't change. That process never changes. It just makes it easy, it makes it available to you and easy to do. So now I've got this beautiful flow. So you can see that colour is reflected. Now, something that's really, really a gorgeous technique to do with this is to have your dark blue and your light blue, to reflect that the same at the bottom, but instead of having the blue here, to have white. Is a real impact on it. We keep the same colour as the base, but where this is the light blue, to have a white here really does become effective, because everything that we put on here as a colour kind of changes the look to what you've got here. So you've almost got two looks, but a really beautiful blend because you're still bringing in those colours. So just something to think about. It's something that makes it sort of cute. It makes it cute. Now, I know that I am going to use this and that I want it to sit about there. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that a really lovely sky blue colour as well? Does that not look like summer skies somehow? It's got that really sweet essence to it. Now, I want it to sit there, but I want to create some kind of... I'm going to play. So I'm going to bring in some elements. I've got my bicycle. I've got my butterflies. I've got a sentiment. And I've got that basket of flowers. Now, where am I going to put what? Well, first of all, I've got two things that are already built on foam tape. So I've got the basket and I've got my sentiment. So I've got a choice. Either of those could be the stopper. I could put foam on these and make them the stopper as well, but I don't, I'm okay with what I've got. I know I want the bike on the front because it's my showstopper. So I know I want it on the front. That's going to be my biggest impact. So then it's a case of, okay, well, I put the little, so see how you've got the die with the guitar? That summer song, they're the flowers from the summer guitar. So I've used those for the basket instead of using the original ones, which would stand this way. Can you see? That would normally be the original ones, but I used those because I like the colour vibrancy and the change, but the fact that that pink and that blue are still matching in with my backgrounds, and they're still matching in, obviously, with the bike itself, the pink of the bike. So I like that. I like that essence of it. So I'm keeping it that way because what I didn't want to do was put the orange on it because I felt like that would be too much. I would lose my foliage at the top. I don't know if that makes sense to you. It's just a visual for me. But it felt like I would lose the foliage somehow behind here with the foliage that's coming out from the top. So when I'm playing, what I'm doing all the time is trying to work ahead of myself. Just one step all the time. If I put this here, how is it going to impact? So what I want to do here is raise the bike slightly. I want it to be raised. But if I do that, where do I put my butterflies? Now I can put my butterflies kind of in the center here. I mean, to be honest, that just looks super pretty, but it's going to look odd with my bike on top. I'm going to lose the butterflies because when I put them on top, all I'm actually doing is creating a white base. Well, if I'm just creating a white base, it was pointless me having that sky blue colour. So what I'm actually going to do is corner out. And I'm going to do this purposefully so that I can bring the eye down. So I'm going to place this on my edge. I'm taking out some colour. Now for me, I don't want it to be on the left hand side. This is just, again, a visual. It's my brain. I want it to be on the right hand side. Now there's two reasons for that. First of all, that makes sense in my head that I would cut something off from the right instead of from the left. It just makes sense to me and my brain. It doesn't mean it's right, it's just the way it is. But for me, the basket is over here. So if I put the butterflies over here, I'm causing too much impact on one side and I'm losing the flow on the other. So I know I want to raise this with a bit of pin flare, and I know I'm going to do that with a bit of pin flare. So my bike's going to sit here, and I've broken up some of the colour. And it's important. It's important to give yourself some white space. Not too much, but it just gives you that element. But that means I can then come in with a sentiment and break that white completely up. Do you see then how that comes together? That we've got that break of flow, and I've just got that lovely element of corner with the florals here and that flow round here. So I'm breaking up my elements just to create a different kind of flow with it. So I've got a piece of foam on here. I'm going to bring it slightly further down than I did. So I'll probably take it to here, and I will allow where this, can you see this little pokey bean that comes out here? Probably easier if I put this on, wouldn't it? And actually stuck it, Miss Towers, do you think? I was sounding so professional until I ruined it all. I'll just take a few of these off. We don't need them all. Remember as well, this is important for those of you who are new to card making as well. When you're doing things with foam tape like I've got on here, I've got loads of foam tape on here, right? What I need to do is make sure it sticks. I don't need to make sure I've taken every piece of foam backing off it, because the rest of it is for support. The whole, if I just put a piece of foam tape here and a piece of foam tape here, the sides are going to sort of slowly kind of flop down. You won't get the impact of it. I need to have foam tape on all areas so that the whole thing's raised, but I don't need it all to stick. I just need some of it to stick. So you don't need to take it all off. So I'm just going to place down. So I've got my shadows, just get that into place, she says, and place. Pretty, so pretty. So there's other things we can do with the butterflies if we so choose. I've taken my sticky off, so I'm going to have to be careful now. What I could do is place them up across here and put the bike on top that way and break that up. But again, all I'm doing here is creating a white space, and I'm not sure that I want it for that reason. I think I want it to be a decorative element that takes away some of the rush of colour that I've got, because I'm using a coloured background. So I need to just reduce it. So I'm going to use this little bean, one of these little beans, and I'm going to reflect it with this little bean just on here. So I'm going in at the same space. So where that would be, because I've got it on the other side, it's reflected, I'm going to use that space just to reflect that shape, but widen it out. So my beans are still the same. I've still got opposing beans, but I've just widened it on one side, and I've created a loss of colour down that side, and that's okay with me. That's what I wanted. With the bike basket, because I want to use some pin flare on this, I need some shape, because if I just lay it flat, I'm not going to get any rays from the pin flare, because it's just going to soak through the flowers. So I'm just going to use my fingers, because Miss Wheeler seems to have taken my little mat that I shape things out with. So we will have words with her and find out where she's put it. And I'm just going to shape with my fingers. Your fingers are an excellent tool anyway for sculpting paper. And I'm just going to place it through. And then I'm going to do the same with the bike seat, just to give it that little bit of oomph. And I'm just going to weld that round. Just remember, always with your paper's really malleable. You know, you can really go to town on it, and you can really just change things through. Have you seen the bike stand on this? When we talk about detail with Carnation, this is what we mean. So the bike stand, you're not going to even be able to see this, but on the pedal there are little grid marks on the pedal itself where your foot would go. I just think the detail that Nick goes to shows an incredible working mind. So florals. Now, because I don't know where the bike's going to hit on my background, I need to make sure that I've got plenty of pin flare. Pin flare's not going to drop, so it's not going to ruin anything. And I'm just placing it in as many places as possible. Some of those places won't hit, and that's okay. So we're just placing through. So I've got lots of pin flare there. I've got wiggle room because it is pin flare. We just need to be careful how we touch. And I'm just going to lay it down. So you see how I curved that basket on the bike? You can then see how that impacts. So that is going to sit with that curvature. I'm just going to touch the seat to that butterfly because I know I put pin flare on there. And just place through, and that's going to give me my stick. Do you see how we get that dynamic impact now? Because of the curvature that we made on the basket, it comes out, it gives us that doming effect, which is just beautifully sort of impactful. Best of luck. That's what Taz says to me every time. Best of luck.
To myself.
To herself. We're just going to place that on top of there. So we've done the outside. Now your options here could have been simply to put another of the petunia frames on the inside, and it would have reflected, you'd have seen that flow. For me personally, that's too busy. That doesn't mean it is for everybody, it's just me, it's too busy for me. So I didn't want to decorate the inside per se, but I did want something. So I'm using the basket of flowers, and I've got this on a 5mm foam tape, so it's high, 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 high. I'm going to remove that and I'm going to hold it very gently. Now I know that the card is going to hit around this point. This bottom bit is probably going to hit around this point. So what we're doing when we're making sure that we've got this sitting down and we've got those things, we need to make sure it's pressed firmly, but you're visually looking first. Don't just open the card and whack that down, because you need the perception, you need that sort of view of where it's going to be. So always lift your card, get your vignette and hold it carefully and work out where do you want the stopping impact to be. Now, because this is weighted at this side going upwards, it's going to be this point that really holds my stopper open. That's essentially the thing that's going to hold it open. But I know that I want this bit, the bottom of my basket, to hit the bottom of my card. So that's going to be my guide. So that's my visual. So I know I want those leaves to be about there. That's going to create my stopping point about there. Now, if those are coming up, all I'm going to do is let them raise slightly just through until my stopping position is exactly where I want it to be. And the impact of that is just so beautiful, because what I've done is introduced a different colour at the bottom. So where I've got the pinks and the purples up here, I've now got all of these colours here. So I've got this really beautiful change that happens. But because Nick colour picks from the vignettes to create the perfect papers, and because everything is spot on together, it all works. There's no clash of colours. But I just introduced something different to the stopper at the bottom than I did to the top of the card. So you've got this beautiful dynamism there. Do you need to press down the pin flare or just lay it on the card? It's kind of half and half, Alison. You never press with pin flare because it's a liquid essentially. Now obviously it's silicone, so it's got some sort of elastication in it almost. But if I press pin flare, have I got some card here? Let me just show you. So I've got a piece of card. This is a terrible waste of card, but I will use the rest of it, so please forgive me. I'm just going to make a tear on here and pull it across. Just bear with. Excuse me. So pin flare is a silicone. So if I place my pin flare onto here, and I lay it high, super high. Let's keep going there. Okay, don't do this at home. It's a super waste of your stuff, but my job is here to show you. So if I show you that height of that pin flare, you'd never make it that high. This is me being sort of excessive for the sake of showing you. But you can see that that's a beautiful shot. It's not that pretty, like glass, right? If I place this on top, and I don't press, I don't do anything, I just place, there will be some give. It will slightly sink, just ever so slightly, okay? But I haven't got it even, so just bear with. But it will hold, okay? So if I leave that for 24 hours, that's the gap I'm going to get between one layer and another. So the rule of thumb with pin flare is, you don't mess with it. Once you've got it where it needs to be, you leave it, because the reason we're using pin flare as opposed to a wet glue, a PVA, is because we want that height, we want that build. However, can we have that shot again, Taz? If I squidge and push it down, I lose all of my height. Okay, so I don't have any build on there at all. So it was pointless using pin flare at that point. And that's just a really gentle push. So we're being careful. What you need to do is make sure it's adhered to the piece that's underneath it. It's important, obviously, that you get that kind of stick. And the way you're going to do that is to just lay it on top. But you've got to have enough pressure so that it's going to stick. But if you put too much, you just squash it and it was pointless using it in the first place. So it's about finding the balance between the two. But pin flare is one of the best things ever. Like, it's just so clever and it gives us so much scope for crafting. And if you're going to spend the time to sculpt out something and create a dome in it, and then you're going to fill it with pin flare and then squash it, there was no point sculpting it, because you're just squashing all the sculpting that you've done. Remember, you've broken the fibres in those papers, so those fibres will give either way at that point. So if you push that down, they're just going to lay flat. And then you're going to also ruin your pin flare, really. There was no point using it. But the joy of pin flare is, if you're going to create, where is it? It's probably better on the board, actually. The board is probably the best example of it. So where we've got the hydrangeas sitting here, this has all been pin flared. So where you've got this, you can see that those two don't have the decoupage elements on it, neither does the centre one. The ones that we've got are the ones with the shadow play on it. Now, even with black, you can see shadow play. So this is all where we sculpt. We use a ball tool, we sculpt around and we create that dome. So when we put pin flare on, the idea is you're trying to make the pin flare, so you've got your highest point here and your lowest point at the bottom, right? So you've got a depth of about, I don't know, 0.5 centimetre, something like that, 3-4 millimetres. So what you're trying to do is build your pin flare to the same height as your dome. So it sits in the centre. And so basically, as that comes down, your bottom parts here will sit to the card just where it is. That will sit flat as such, but this part remains raised. Now, if I put that on and I was really chuffed with it and I thought this is ace and I'm going to send this in the post right now, by the time it got to its recipient, it would have squashed right down flat and I'd have pin flare all over. It's just going to stick to the envelope on the inside. You've got to let it dry. And really, you're looking at curing it for about 24 hours. And by that, I just mean leave it. Don't touch it. Once you've got it where you want it to be, at the height that you want to be, leave it alone for 24 hours. Then you can seal it because it will dry like concrete. Pin flare is just an incredible glue. I use it around the house. I've stuck door handles on and all sorts, but the main rule of thumb with pin flare always is leave it for 24 hours. Leave it alone. There's people at work who have fixed shoes, fixed glasses. They've done all sorts with it. Who was it that stuck? Was it their registration plate on at work? Somebody had lost their car reg and they needed to quickly get it back on. It had come off.
I don't know, but Dave stuck a wine rack together before the day.
Yeah, Dave stuck up, and so Dave does a lot of Dave Bradford does a lot of like, what do you call it, model making with stuff, and I know that he's used it for stuff like that as well. It's incredibly powerful glue, and it's just the way we can use it to sculpt, which is why I love it, because it's obviously what I do, and it's important to me. So have we got time for another one, Taz? We've got 10 minutes. Let's do a flat one so we're not using it in card shape, so you can just see it coming together in a different way. Sorry for the noise, I apologise, but I need to keep my demos all separate and all bagged up differently. So this is where I leave all my bits and pieces. So let's have a look at making a lovely chunky monkey card, because chunky cards are my favourite. Let's look at doing a flat base instead of a card shape so we can see different ways of doing it, because what I want you to be able to do once you get this collection home is be able to make a standard card, to be able to make an easel card, and to be able to make something like this just to set you going before you ever go any further. The rest of it, then you'll go on your own crafting journey with it, but it's nice to have that starting point where you go, well, I can do this with it. I've seen how you do it. I know how to do an easel. I've got a starting point and a place to jump off from, and then the rest of it is all down to you. So I'm going to take this. We always do it the same way. Remember, you've scored it at 1/2 inch. You've got your sticky tape on there, and you're going to place that towards your body. Keep it away from the rest of your card. You're going to shuffle those together till you've got them in the right place. Once they are absolutely set, you're going to butt them up against something, lay them down, still knowing now I've got it in place. I can push that down to create the base of my card, and that's all set. We're going in with some of these perfect papers. We're going to use the tab routine. So we're pulling these down, we're using the slip and slide, get yourself into place. So this one I have taken, I think 1 inch, so 1/2 inch off each side if you like. So whatever, say like my base card here, I don't know what the measurements are, but say like it's 8 by 6, it looks like it probably is to me. So this one is then 7 by 5. So I'm taking it down by 1 inch, so we've got those bigger sort of increments at this side. And we're playing with layers here. I love layers, and I wanted to talk to you about mats and layers because we talk about them a lot, don't we? Now normally on a card what we'll do is create your base card, your mat and your layer, and that's probably standard card making format, right? And it makes sense. There's a good reason behind that, and there's a good reason behind that format being standard. However, what if we want to take it further and add more? Because I like to create a center stage. But I am also wary a lot of putting two strong colours together, so I like to break it up with a bit of white in the middle. So I went onto the website and I downloaded the free backing papers. And I thought, well, let's play. Let's play with colour. Let's play with the energy of the cards, and let's bring in a different platform. So I'm going one layer further and I'm bringing in my center stage. And I've got that gorgeous pink layered with that blue. Now, normally speaking, I would be inclined, and you'll have seen me doing demos many times when I say that's too strong for me and I need to take some of that colour away, so I'm going to put a white on top. I would have done it the other way around. But because I'm going white, blue, white, pink, so I've changed it up, I'm actually really good with that. I think that looks really pretty and really impactful. And I think something really simple on here. Let me just say, let's put a happy birthday there, and let's put one of my vignettes here. You know, in its most simple form, in its most basic form. I've got something really cute already. Just really simple, right? Really cute. And that's okay. You don't need to go to excessive amounts. This is the whole point with Carnation. Build it. We're building cards, so you know where you're going with it. Hold on, sorry Alison. The Easel Card demo was fab. I saw one where you lay the die over card, missing a bit at the top. Had no idea how to do that on the scan and cut. Missing a bit at the top. Oh, you're talking about welding, I think, when you make your own bespoke card shape. I'll go through that on a different demo at some point, and we'll go through that and talk about it. We need to, we're trying to get the studio sorted out so it's a bit more scan and cut friendly for you, so you can see the screen better and we can see what we're doing. So as soon as that gets sorted, I'll start doing some more scan and cut tutorials because I think they're incredibly valuable. We just need to make it a bit easier for you guys to see it and for me to be able to demonstrate it, because it's not particularly scan and cut friendly in here at the minute. We are doing our best. So I've got my foam pads sitting on the back of my gorgeous daisy sitting here. I'm going to place it. So I've got my base, and I'm going to place my base here because I'm using this edge of my pink as my grounding device. So I'm going to place it right in the center and base it down so it sits. Look how pretty that is with that pink behind. Now, like I say, I would normally be not scared of, but I would certainly avoid using too much colour. Doesn't do it for me. I'm not a big fan of too much colour together. I love colour, but if there's too much, my brain goes fizzy with it. So we've got to have your white, your blue, your white. You know, break it down. Break your colours down. White is your best friend. Just interject it with some white, just cool your tones. That's all we're trying to do, is just cool those tones. I'm going to go in with this, and I've got another of those same frames, but this time I've cut it in half. Just snipped through it, nothing excessive. And I've got it on thick foam tape. We're on a 5mm here. I've built up. I want it to be really built, okay? So I'm just going to place. Try and get it as even as I can. Like I say, when you're at home, you can lean over. It's much easier, but I'll go for the best I can. and just place. So, it doesn't make much of a difference on camera. It does in real life, but on camera, not making such a difference. If I raise it, you can see the difference. Okay, you can see I've got that impact there. And it does make a huge difference. But what it means is I've got like a secret tucking area here. I can tuck stuff, tuck stuff into there. And that's a really lovely way of being able to craft again, because it means I can build things up. So what I've done here is I've taken that watering can, and I've got two of them. I've put them together, and I've got 5mm between and 5mm on the back of it. I'll take the backing off in a minute, but I just want to show you what I mean. Because I've got the two handles that sit separately, because obviously it's not wide enough for me to put foam tape on, it means I can use this to tuck in. So I can take the watering can handle at the bottom and I can start to tuck that through, which means I've got more scope of placing this, but allowing that wider angle that I had at the beginning, because I've placed this up, I've built it up, but nothing is excessive at this point, because that is still laying at the same height as that because of the way it's being built. So I don't get this insane chunkiness, I get a lovely chunkiness. So it's about building it in together and allowing it to come together in a way that's not too excessive, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to remove this and try and place it without, you know, doing what I normally do. So we're looking at that double barrier that I've made, and we're looking at my double barrier here. We're going to twin them, we're going to pair them, and we're going to place them. And we're just going to take control of it, because at the moment it's taking control of me. And I'm just tucking through. So I've got that beautifully into place. Look at that, so pretty. And what that's doing is drawing your eye with that spout that way. So I need to bring something back this way, because otherwise I am off kilter visually. Because yes, I've got the handle here, but the handle is very narrow. So the spout is guiding me. So just so if you're using this collection at home and you're using this on a card that is, say, a blank, it's a really great tool to have it as almost a corner device down here, because that spout is going to raise your eye upwards. So if you have it down there and you have, if that was the bottom of your card and you've got this here, you're drawing the eye towards that sentiment or towards whatever it needs to be. So it's a great corner device just in case you were curious. So I've got these beautiful little flowers. I love these little flowers. These are from the guitar. They're super happy. I'm just going to place a bit of white glue and pop that there. Take an applicator. What I did with my applicator from this morning. It'll be so, I'll find it no doubt stuck to my dress later on. So I'm going to take some wet glue, and I'm just using wet glue, and I'm just going to use it on the edges of these flowers, just absolutely on the edges, nowhere in the centre. And I'm just going to just wave that slightly around, not too much. Place this, use my fingernail, so where I've just placed the glue, it's just going to raise it slightly, not much, but it's just going to give me a little raise. Now I can't poke that too much because it's still wet, obviously, although this dry sticks super fast, but you can see I can now guide my pokey under it. There is a gap. So it's just creating that tiny little dome that just gives it a bit of interest to look at. And I'm going to go in with some butterflies because I love them so much, but I don't want the butterflies on my main piece. It's too much. It's too much. I'm going to overface the card. I've got too much colour going on as it is. Without placing these on top of there as well, it's going to cause a headache to my eye. So I'm cornering it out instead. And what that's going to do is just take some of that cool tone with that blue on that hot pink. It's just going to cool that right down. But I'm then going to corner that out down here. You could essentially, and it would be very pretty, put two at the top. Super pretty, right? Or I can put one down here. I actually quite like it at the top, I got to tell you. But you can have them at either. You see how we're guiding out? We're constantly creating a space that you're working within. Now, I think for the sake of this, I think I am going to put this one at the top, and I'll tell you for why. It's because I'm going to put my sentiment on. I'd like to tell you everything I do is pre-planned and perfection. It's not. I will make demos and then change my mind halfway through demos. I think that's important. And I think it also stands testament to Carnation, because it means that their dies allow me to do that, which is very useful. So I've cornered it that way because I'm now going to finish the base off with the sentiment. So I'm covering that great big daisy. Now that's a massive pop of colour, right? That is a huge pop of colour, that pink daisy, and I love it. But because I've put so much colour into this card, I'm more than happy to call it out. And I'm going to call it out with a white sentiment that just brings that tone down. It allows the flow that goes through, and it allows extra flow because I've got that bottom piece, and that's why I was saying we're using this piece of pink here as our grounding device, because that now allows everything to flow the way that I want it to flow and that I find pleasing. Why are you looking at me like that, Miss Taz?
Liz on YouTube has said it was Parker who did the number plate.
Was it Parker? Yeah.
Yes.
I knew somebody had they restuck their number plate onto their car with pin flare because something happened, and obviously you have to have your number plate and he had to get somewhere, so he used pin flare. So yeah, I mean, pin flare is just awesome stuff. Tracy says hi again. Hey Tracy, I hope you're okay. So I'll turn this to the front for you so you can see it, but really pretty. I will say with those butterflies, try some vellum. Try cutting it in vellum because they're gorgeous in the vellums. There's so many ways of using summer pursuits in a really graceful, beautiful way, you know, that really creates impact, and it's just stunning, isn't it? And it's little small elements, the little flowers on the watering can, stuff like that, just little bits, absolutely beautiful. Alison said, I stuck 2 tiles together, rock solid. I mean, that is the thing, it is rock solid. So before I go, I will say lots of people have said to me many times over the past, how do I get my silicone mat clean? How do I clean my multimedia mat? Well, the truth of the matter is, it's without sounding dismissive, which I certainly don't mean it to, but the whole point of it is that where you see all these marks here, that's pin flare. And the reason that I'm not bothered whether this ever comes clean or not is because I don't want it on my surface. So the whole reason of me using that is that I'm protecting this. And I know that pin flare is a solid glue. I know it's a solid glue. I know it's not coming off. Obviously, when my PVA dries, I can just peel it off. I did earlier. I don't know where I've put it now. But I just peel it off and that's absolutely fine. But lots of people will say to me, how do I clean my multimedia mat? The answer is, put it in some soapy water, clean it the best you can, and don't worry about it. It's your crafting protection. It's there to save your base, and so long as it's clean, as in you're not getting marks from here onto your cards. So yes, use soapy water. The main thing is we're using your multimedia mat as a really, really useful resource. First of all, you've got the line that you're buttoning things up to, which is important. You've got your wells for your glues, your inks, whatever it is you're putting in there, and you've got this beautiful solid silicone baseline. So when we're doing things that have got possibly some heat with them, or we're doing something that has got pin flare, we just don't worry. It's not about keeping it pristine, it's about keeping this pristine, and that's why we use them. So I hope that helps. I have had an awesome hour with you. In fact, I've had 2 awesome hours with you this morning. I'm so grateful for your company, and I'm really, you know, always so stoked that you'll spend some time with me. It's incredibly lovely to know. We will see you tomorrow morning. Is it 10 o'clock tomorrow? We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and we'll finish up Summer Pursuits with a couple more demos and one final look at it, and then we'll be on to the next big thing. Actually, in my brain, I can't remember which the next big thing is.
I think it's the brand new launch.
Is it? No.
Yes. For here, yeah.
Are you sure? Is there not something I'm doing beforehand?
Maybe a craft.
Is there?
But here, it's our brand new collection with Dave.
Is it? Is that on Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tuesday we'll be back with a brand new launch, which is very exciting. I'm away for a weekend this weekend on a craft weekend with 100 women that I organise every year, so that's exciting.
Wheelers at Create and Craft.
That's
on
right.
Friday.
Wheeler's at Create and Craft on Friday. She's standing in for me, obviously, because I am not going to be here. I will be in a stately home with a scalpel in my hand, paper cutting. So I'll be doing that this weekend. So Wheeler will be on Create and Craft on Friday with Family Christmas. So if you want another look at how to put that together, she will be there and she will talk you through that. I will be with you next week. In the meantime, I will see you tomorrow. Have a fabulous day and evening, and I'll speak to you then. Bye.